Jody here with All About the Harvest. Do you want to know how to make those cute little mini marshmallows found in hot chocolate? Well, look no further. Today I'm going to show you how to make them and also what else you can use them for aside from hot chocolate. Stay tuned. To learn about all things food related, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. I have the Excalibur 9 tray food dehydrator. Excalibur recommends dehydrating your marshmallows at 150 degrees. If you have large marshmallows or regular sized marshmallows, you're going to want to cut them into smaller sizes. If you have the mini marshmallows, you can go ahead and just put them on the tray as is. I just want to let you know that with dehydrating marshmallows, they actually don't get smaller. Most food that you dehydrate actually gets smaller, but marshmallows do not. So if you want those super small little marshmallows found in hot chocolate, you're gonna wanna cut them even smaller. What I'm gonna do today is I'm just going to dehydrate a bag of mini marshmallows and I'm gonna leave them at the same size. So when you add them to your trays, just try to give them as much space as possible so there will be good air flow and good air movement. So this will allow them to dehydrate a little quicker. I mentioned before, Excalibur recommends 150 degrees. They also say that that takes about 3 to 5 hours. If you don't have a dehydrator, some ovens actually have a dehydrate mode. Mine has a dehydrate mode, but it doesn't go as low as 150 degrees. I wouldn't recommend doing much more than 150 degrees. You can always go less than 150 degrees. What you'll find is at 150 degrees, the marshmallows will puff up slightly. If you do it at a lower temperature, the marshmallows will take longer to dehydrate, but they likely won't puff up that little bit. You will want to dehydrate them until they're crunchy and they can be crushed in your hand. The amount of time it takes to fully dehydrate your marshmallows depends on the humidity in your environment, so keep checking your marshmallows. So once you get your marshmallows on your trays, go ahead and set your temperature for 150 degrees if you have a temperature setting. If your dehydrator doesn't have a temperature setting, go ahead and turn it on and just check it frequently throughout the day. Remember, you want them to be dehydrated to the point where they're hard and can crush in your hand. I'm going to let my marshmallows dehydrate and then I'm going to come back when they are finished. Okay, so the marshmallows are done. I started them around midnight, so I just let them go until 8 a.m. And here's what they look like. So they're slightly bigger than they were originally. They are hard, and as you can see, when you crumble them in your hands, they do make a fine powder. So what I'm going to do with these now is I'm going to put them in my my glass mason jar, and I'm going to fill this in the jar, and then see if I can do this without making a mess. So I find a canning funnel works wonderfully for getting things in mason jars. Now this is a half-gallon jar. And I grabbed this size because I figured it would be a good size for these. Looks like we're gonna have a pretty good. So this was one bag of mini marshmallows. So, sorry for the noise. So if you're trying to do this at home, know that one bag of mini marshmallows is going to fit a half-gallon mason jar. Now, the beauty is you do not have to use mason jars. You could actually use other jars. I kind of knew that was going to happen. You could actually use other jars as well. So like pickle jars or mayonnaise jars, those type of jars would work really great for this as well, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually vacuum seal this. It has an airtight lid. I'm making a mess here. And that's what you should do because you don't want these marshmallows to get any humidity in there. If they do, they're not gonna be as hard and crunchy. So, let's see here. So I like to vacuum seal them. Now, if you don't have a vacuum sealer, then you can use some oxygen absorbers. And I'm going to show you how to use the vacuum sealer momentarily. But do you see that little trick I did there? I shook it to get them down. So, okay, a half-gallon jar fits a full bag of mini marshmallows. So I'm going to show you how to vacuum seal these, and then I'm going to show you another trick with what you can do with these aside from just having them whole. So I got out my food saver, and you want to make sure that the rim of the jar is cleaned. You don't want any powder or anything on there. So this is where I use a canning lid, but I used a used lid. So this is one that I've already used to can with. This I actually made grape juice with. I wiped off the top, and you cannot reuse these for canning purposes once they've been used, but you can reuse them for dehydrated goods. So I use them for dehydrated goods. So you're just gonna put the top back on there, and we're going to suck the air out with the food saver. If for some reason you didn't have a food saver and you didn't have oxygen absorbers, you could just put this back on, screw it on, and that would be better than nothing at all, leaving them in a bag. But I do have the vacuum sealer, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So this is the regular mouth attachment. There's a regular mouth and a wide mouth. So I just put that on. And then turn it on, and then I just hit the accessory button. This is going to be a little bit loud. And now this jar is sealed. So what I do is I put this ring on, and then I'll write what's on the top of this so I know. And then I just store it in my pantry. So this is how I do it. I put the ring back on because it could lose its seal. So you want to make sure that at least it's being kept down with the ring. So that's how to vacuum seal. Next, I'm going to show you what else to do with these. So these can be great used just as is. They're great just to eat as is. They're better than regular marshmallows. They can also be used in place of the marshmallows in like Lucky Charms, so you could put them in a different type of cereal if you wanted. But they can also be put in hot chocolate or those hot chocolate bombs. So those are just some of the uses, how to use them whole. But I'm going to show you how else to use them. And that is to make them into a powder. So I took some of them out of here and I put them in my spice grinder or coffee grinder. I always clean it out between uses, so I have some in there. So you could also use a food processor or a blender for this. And now it is a fine, beautiful powder. And I love this. So this powder can be used for putting in your hot chocolate, which would be my #1 use for it. You could also use it in coffee. You could use it on top of ice cream or in a milkshake. You can use it for decorating cakes, cookies, or cupcakes. And it's useful when making hard candy to keep the pieces from sticking together. So really you can use this in any way, but it's just wonderful. It looks so cool and it tastes great. I love having many ways to use an ingredient. Comment below and let me know how you would use dehydrated marshmallows. To find more food-related tips and tricks, follow All About the Harvest on Instagram and Facebook. The links are in the description below this video. If you've liked this video, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. If you have friends that may be interested in the content in this video, please share it with them. Well, that's all for today. Enjoy your hot cocoa.